you need to do the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like you need to work with lots and lots of people because
Yeah.
yours, like we were talking about the safe space, your solution may work for one person, but then you work with another person with a different personality, a different set of strengths. You got a different like stumbling block that you need to learn how to get them over. And I think people want to skip that step because it's not sexy to work one-on-one anymore. It's not sexy to have the intimate group experiences. It's all about like, let me scale to that one to many, right? And it's like, you have to validate that concept on a very deep level by working one-on-one. And through, that's where expertise is built.
Welcome to Too Legitimate to Quit. Instantly actionable small business strategies with a pop culture spin. I am your host, Annie P. Ruggles, and my guest today is the zany and profound Rachael Kay Albers. Rachael Kay Albers is a creative director and brand strategist for businesses that burn the rule book. When she's not helping brands set fire to the box instead of thinking inside it, she writes about the intersection of branding, pop culture, tech, and identity. Rachael is also a stand-up comedian and hosts a business comedy show using sketch and storytelling to teach about entrepreneurship in the internet age. Rachael Kay Albers, of all the people that I have invited onto this show, and there have been many and they have been brilliant, I think because I know you're just going to keep it so real, I might be the most excited to ask you the question, what do small business owners need to focus on this week?
You know what? They need to get off the internet. That's the answer. Get off the World Wide Web and go live your real lives. Go get your hands in the dirt.
Yeah.
Go get sweaty somewhere, wherever, however you like to sweat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Do the damn thing.
Go and do some shit. Make some moves. Dance, do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
But offline specifically.
Yeah, specifically.
Make a little offline love.
Yeah.
Tonight.
No live streaming the love making. I don't think that's a good idea.
I mean, what I love about this is that you, of all people, are probably the most all over the internet person that I know, considering there's an entire library of GIFs of you.
That's true. I don't have passive income, but I do have passive GIF views.
Yes.
They're GIFing while I sleep. So I got that. That's in my back pocket at all times.
But even you, with the library of small motion pictures, are like, get your ass off the internet.
Correct.
So when we get our butts off the internet and we go out and we live our own lives, are we taking a break? Are we living our lives off the internet, or both?
Yes. And, I think we are tremendously online right now. And I think that also in the age of the personal brand, where we're all being encouraged, even the people who aren't entrepreneurs, right, are being encouraged to think of themselves as brands. And, from babies to retirees, it really runs the gamut. And I think people they're having a hard time discerning where is me and where is the internet me? Where is the me that I put on for my business, for my followers, for my Facebook, for my Instagram? Is anyone on Facebook? Is anyone on Facebook anymore, Annie? I don't know. I'm not there.
Think so. Speaking of gifts, I decided that a couple episodes ago, we had this really lovely episode where we wound up just kind of bashing Mark Zuckerberg the whole time. Sorry. But we're like, the traction on Facebook is not what it used to be. And so I was like, I'm going to run an experiment. I'm going to run an ad on Facebook for the first time in months and just see what happens. And I got, no joke, one woman sent me 3 spam gifts in the comments. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 spam gifts. And then another guy.
Did you get a little RKA in your inbox or?
No, it was just Monty Python.
Oh,
but then a guy went on a tirade about Roe versus Wade.
What kind of ad was this, Annie?
Was come to my open house and ask a sales question. And he was like, you look like one of them libs who's all got your panties in a bunch about Roe versus Wade. And I'm like, okay. So I went the like normal Monica Lewinsky, Saint Lewinsky route of haters and was like, I'm going to be nice to you and you're going to realize you're being a dick.
Aww.
So I was like, I'm sorry that you're clearly having a bad day if this is your outlet. And he deleted his shit. And then the gift lady was just like, never responded. But I was like, hey, thanks for the gift. These are funny. But of course, she didn't respond. But also, like, Facebook is so dumb.
You should be my troll coach. You should teach me how to respond to trolls with love. Like, because that's who I am in my heart.
I get light level trolls, though, because I do keep it kind of safe. Like, I'm out here muppeting. But when I think safe and I think RKA, I don't think those words exist in the same language because you take every risk. And one thing that I love about you is that you are totally willing to make fun of our fucked up, beautiful, but fucked up industry and yourself in that. And so when you're kind of 8-miling sometimes where you're like, I'm going to put myself out there in such a fantastic, giant, gorgeous, authentic way that if someone comes at me, what the fuck do they have left to say? So how tell me, how does one get so battle brave to be an RKA in this day and age?
5 letters. I think it's 5. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 6. Trauma. Annie,
Trauma.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, truly. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. TRAUM. Oh, it's 6. It is 6.
Well, it's
so traumatized. I forgot a letter.
6. It's a tight 6.
It's a tight 6.
But like you and I have been in this game both for a really long time, and we hadn't connected in a really long time, and we caught up, and I was like, "Hey, my meds are better than before." So thank you, therapy. Thank you, medication, and thank you, the lessons of trauma. This is not a Kelly Clarkson episode, but truly, what doesn't kill you has to make you stronger, or otherwise you'll just get bored of being traumatized all the time.
It is. You got to shake it up a little bit with the troms. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did. I mean, last year, who didn't have a pandemic breakdown? I mean, but I did mine live on Instagram every day, all day. I'm not even kidding. Like, and I branded it too, Annie. That's what you do when you're in branding and marketing. You brand your own breakdown. And I kind of just had reached a breaking point. And I was going live every day on Instagram. I was on stories all day doing like a mix of industry whistleblowing mixed together with talking about my family and the troms and my marriage dissolving and all of the things. And, talk about, I didn't go into it with that goal. My goal when I started that, it was called Free School, Annie. And the goal of it was at the beginning of February of last year, I was like, what would happen if I just showed up every day on Instagram and taught my audience everything I know, like all of my content for free, no opt-in, no subscribe, just like show up and here I am teaching. And so that was the goal of it. And then as I started going along, all this stuff I'd been noticing and observing in the industry kind of was like tapping me on the shoulder and saying like, you need to talk about this. Because also here's the thing, speaking of trauma, a lot of people have traumas in this industry. And I mean that. And yet, because of like all of like the web of affiliate relationships and business connections, they're locked down by NDAs. They're locked down by confidentiality agreements. A lot of these folks who've been like kind of connected to the big names, they couldn't say anything even if they wanted to. And this is kind of the benefit of never being cool, never been a cool kid. You know what, Annie, you were a cool kid. You were cool. We went to college together. I'm outing us to your audience. But we went to college together. You were cool. I was not. You were in the in crowd. I was in the wannabe in crowd, and I just rode your coattails as much as I could. But the benefit of never being cool in this sense, never being invited to the cool kids like table, was that I didn't have those partnerships. I didn't have those confidentiality agreements. There was no business connections other than the fact that I run a branding agency and I've worked with everyone who's worked with everyone. So I knew the stories, but I didn't personally, I hadn't signed on the dotted line. So I was whistleblowing, I was talking shit, and I burned down my life, Annie. I lost like a lot of my friends, a lot of clients, a lot of referral relationships. But I'm a year out from that, a little bit over a year out from that. And the benefit of that has been now I can say whatever the hell I want. Like you said, like,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid anymore of those of what's going to happen, because it happened. It happened and it was bad. It was dark. It was dark. So there we go. Cliff's Notes, burn it all down. Like
Cliff Notes, burn it all down. And also, like, not to be wildly optimistic, because we're talking about trauma, and this shit was incredibly hard and I'm sure wildly painful. And I had my own situation that kind of sent me into hiding in 2019, pre-pandemic. And then I sort of took the pandemic chrysalis time to heal and reform and come back out braver, bolder, stronger, and giving less of a fuck. But I'm grateful for that time, even though it was really hard, because I realized how much I had been hiding, and that hiding didn't protect me from what I was trying to avoid.
Exactly. Who knew we were going to get trauma counseling today? We're not licensed. We're not certified.
We're not licensed. We're not certified. We're just two people that want to tell you the truth, that life is hard and entrepreneurship is hard and trauma happens and it doesn't have to stop you, right? Like, you are not a collection of your trauma, but you damn well are a collection of what you do with your trauma. And
really laying down some like Brene Brown worthy tweetables here. I'm loving it.
What up? Coming for you, Mama Brene. Mama Brene, come talk to Rachel and I about trauma. She burned her life down and mine imploded. But hey, here we freaking are, right? And you made a video the other day that scared the ever-loving shit out of me so much that I didn't watch it yet, because I was like, I need to watch this. I need to watch this. And so I was like, I'm going to smoke a bowl and then I'm going to watch this, like, to relax and embrace it. And then I was like, oh, wait, I'm seeing her on Wednesday. I can just ask her the question I'm afraid of straight up, and we can have a conversation about it right now. You posted something online the other day that I have also been observing, questioning, about whether or not the coaching and digital marketing industry bubble is bursting. Is it? Do we need to worry about it? Or are people just waking up to the fact that this is a job? What do you think?
So yes and no. So what I made this video about, because isn't it always the both hand of it all? That's why I'm into rainbows. Yes. It's the spectrum. It's all the things at once. But but a lot of people are leaving coaching or leaving online business or doing like very ceremoniously, like being like, I'm leaving and let me do a fire sale on my way out of town. It's like, okay, of course. They're burning it all down, but like in a contained, like 40% off type of a situation. But, people are leaving. And there's also a lot of folks who are like being like, wait a minute, I just looked around. I think things are messed up. What? So what I would say about the coaching bubble bursting is, one, I think, is the bubble bursting forever for everybody? No, of course it's not. And coaching and iterations of it, despite it kind of coming of age in the 90s, has been around in some form since like the early days of our modern economy. Okay. So, I mean, you look at the Napoleon Hills, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, and how he was doing coaching during the Great Depression. I mean, so the grift goes on, and I say that with love towards coaches, but
the grift goes on.
As long as there's people scamming people, there's also people who are not. So there's a market for it. But the bubble for these individuals their bubble is bursting. Yeah. And what I've noticed is there's kind of two things that happens. One is people, and this is coaching, this is online business, this is online marketing, all that kind of stuff. One, people have a bubble burst moment where they're like, oh my God, there's some really shitty things that are happening in this industry I don't believe in. Maybe I've been taught methods that now that I've examined them, I don't think these methods are good. And so then they say, I'm going to pivot now. Now I'm ethical, right? Like, now look at me. I put a little green stamp on my logo. I'm an ethical entrepreneur now. And it's pretty much more the same. It's like when a company says natural on its products, but like there's no anybody could say natural. It could be like 1,000 chemicals. Organic is a different story. You've got to actually be certified. So people will have this realization, and then they'll do a pivot, but it's like more of it's like easy swaps. Like, oops, I was unethical and now I'm not. Okay, sure. Right?
Sure.
So that's number one. And then the second pivot that happens is people have that realization. They try to pivot into ethical, and they're doing it in a discerning way. And they realize, oh shit, a lot of the methods that I've been using that got me to greatness, that got me those 6-figure launches, 7-figure launches, all that stuff that got me up the ladder, there isn't an easy swap, to now I'm a conscious business owner. And if I do want to I can't make the same money. I can't make the same celebrity splash that I was. And then I think those people are like, they quit, right? Like they get out because they're like, oh shit, I can't do it, So that's what I see as the bubble bursting. Coaching will go on. Online marketing will go on, of course. I do think we're going to see more regulations, especially in the coaching that has to do with like wellness and health. We were talking about trauma as a joke, but
hell yes.
Everybody's trauma informed now, Annie. Okay. I see like trauma informed like cat groomers. You know what I'm saying? And like, listen, I support trauma informed certifications. That's super important. Trauma informed is all about, attending to your in the healthcare space, as well as like in any space, coming into that relationship with more nuance and being able to truly take care of people in a way that honors them versus the masses. And I'm all about it. But now we see people doing like 2-hour trauma-informed certifications. And now that's part of their Instagram title. I'm a trauma-informed influencer, which I do own that domain, by the way, traumainformedinfluencer.com. I don't know if I did anything with it yet, but there's my plug for my non-existent bullshit. But
my self-soothing behavior has always been buying domains. So the domain buyer in me honors the domain buyer in you.
I have like 150 of them. Sometimes I go in there and I'm like, what was I thinking?
I have the weirdest shit. I have and I'm like, this is the one. This is the one. And I'm totally going to do something with it. And then sometimes I do. Like I have stop hating sales.
I redirect a lot of them. Yeah. One time while I was drunk, I bought drunkboobs.com. And as a service to humanity, I redirected it to a video on consent. So I was like, if somebody goes and Googles or somebody goes looking for drunk boobs, they're going to learn about consent and, and all of the important parts of being a conscious sexual partner.
You're a responsible, trauma-informed business owner. Oh my God. I fucking love that. But no, you know what? And you said something that I think is so true because, a lot of people come to the Non-Sleazy Sales Academy because they're looking to do that work of the retooling, right? But they're the ones waking up to being like, I'm not successful because these methods don't work, so I don't do them, right? So most of my people haven't actually succeeded to the level of before where now they're like, cancel culture is going to come for me. This is getting harder. Regulations bail, right?
Right.
They're like, someone told me to steal from somebody's kid's college fund and I'm unwilling to do that. So I guess I'll just go out of business, right? Those are my people. But I do believe, and you said regulations are coming. Number one, I welcome our regulation overlords. I think it's about damn time. And those of us who have been here since the dawn of time now have work cred to show for those credentials, in addition to all the random credentials we have. You went to fucking law school. So, I mean, not bad for 2 kids with theater degrees. But I just feel like one of the things you brought up underneath all of that, when we talk about what it really means to be trauma informed or what it really means to be ethical or conscious or natural, organic, whatever it may be, is the need to create responsible spaces, because safe spaces are a myth, right? Like safe spaces are a wonderful intention. We can obviously say like, oh, my community is a really safe space for trans people or for neurodivergent people or whatever it may be. Well, but if one person says one thing that violates the safety, what I can do is create a responsible space where if that were to happen, it would be dealt with swiftly, publicly, correctly, and with community intent, right? So while we're sort of blowing up the internet, you're doing all this fabulous muckraking and industry whistleblowing, what comes up for you when I say, like, how can we be more responsible to each other?
I really love what you said about that, because like you said, like, or, this to me connects to the concept of like allyship.
Yeah.
And listen, I've made mistakes in my journey to be a better white person, to be a better person of privilege. But what I've kind of come to now is like, you don't call yourself an ally, right? You say, I am working towards allyship all the time for the rest of my life. I'm working towards it. I am, that is the goal. We're all students of life here, right? And so the same thing with the safe space. It's like, you can't tell people you create a safe space. That's in the eye. And it's funny because this goes actually back to branding. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Yep.
The safe space isn't up to you to decide if it's space safe or not. That's the space's perception, right? And the same thing comes down to branding. This is where people get branding wrong, and why it's so hard and why it's so stressful is your brand is not what you say it is. Your brand is in the eye of the beholder, right? And so it's it's like lives in your audience's mind. It's a memory. And that means you have to be constantly working and constantly making sure that what you want your audience to feel and experience with you aligns with what they're feeling and experiencing with you. So I think that's really, when you say responsible, what comes up for me is approaching business, approaching the work, approaching clients with an attitude of being a student, being a student of your audience and clients. Right? Yes.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought this up. I love, just one of the things I love about the show is just following where y'all's brilliant minds just want to go. And one thing that I have struggled with, because as I previously mentioned, we ain't new. We've had lean years and fat years, but we've been doing this for over a third of our freaking lives now almost. And isn't that insane? Isn't that insane? I've known you for half of my life.
I was today years old when I thought of it like that. OMG.
Right? But we're not freaking new. And as such, adopting a beginner's mind is very challenging for me because my vain ass assumes I know everything.
Yes. And everybody wants to be important. Everyone wants to be an expert.
Right.
But
I do find myself looking to be validated in books and stuff that I read. Like, oh yeah, I knew that. See, I'm right. I find myself adopting that attitude more than let me go in and have my brain kind of blown here, because I'm a little not bitter, but like over it, cynical. I don't know what I am. I'm not new. It's not my first rodeo. So I love that you brought up that idea of being a lifelong learner, because what I've realized is that if I assume that I am the be all end all strategist of the world, it doesn't just hurt me, it hurts my clients.
Yes.
Because my clients are coming to me to take the leaps and run the experiments and know the data and understand the other avenues and be able to course correct. And if I'm not innovating, they can't grow. And yet I'm going into these webinars or books or conferences or whatever, being like, yeah, knew that. So how do we, those of us who are old dogs, how do we open ourselves up to new tricks?
Oh, it's funny because going back to my burn down story, I was just writing. So I'm writing a book right now. I'm actually finishing up the proposal because I'm trying to sell this bad boy.
Hell yes.
Let's go. And I was writing my audience profiles of who's going to read this book. And the second audience was marketing and business professionals who are burned out and bored by the same old business books, right? And they're feeling ambivalent. They're feeling this very thing of like, oh shit, this industry is full of garbage. Like so there's some of it where I understand your fatigue, right? I understand your fatigue. And I think a lot of people are fatigued. And so there is an opportunity for some fresh takes. So last year after I burned it all down, and like I found out when you burn it all down, the only thing left standing is you. So then you got to look in the mirror and wash your face like Rachael Hollis taught you and be like, who the hell is that? I don't know if there's not a filter. So last year, as I experienced this and I was kind of picking up the wreckage of my life and all the business that I lost, and I had, and I was, with my daughter and I didn't have childcare because I was going through a divorce. I started doing some digging and I went to Google and I'm like, what is the history of our brand culture? And started really digging into it. That's how I found out about Napoleon Hill, world's first MLM grifter. Maybe not world's first, but he was an OG. He had an automobile MLM. He had a sex cult. There's a lot people don't know about Think and Grow Rich and that asshole. But so
Think and Grow an Orgy.
Yeah, Think and Grow an Orgy and use it for PR. Like that was his angle. And hey, I mean, it's a strategy. But I think that one thing is that I feel like in our modern world that we're doing less and less of is actually going back to history and looking at the patterns, like looking at the history of our culture, the history. I think a lot of people living today kind of just feel like we always lived like this in terms of buying culture and in terms of how much we're advertised. Like, this is just how humans are, right? We buy a lot of stuff. We treat ourselves. We have mimosas. We, didn't we do that in the medieval times? And we don't look to the patterns. We think it's boring. It's like, no, we're fresh. We're hip. We're new. We're on TikTok now. We don't need history. Okay. And I went and, this was me essentially taking myself back to school. Like, Annie, you brought up that we both have theater degrees. I did get a double major in marketing, and I fell back on my fallback. I fell back pretty hard, but, and so it's like, yeah, I was like, I know this stuff. I studied it in college. I get it. I understand the history. No, I didn't. No, I freaking didn't. And I didn't understand the history. What I read and what I studied in college. First of all, when we were in school, Facebook came out when we were in college. That was back in the day where you had to have a college email address.
ID, and it was only for colleges. There is still one of our mutual friends. She's going to hate that I'm saying this. There's still somewhere on Facebook a group called Ode to Boobs. Because I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know how to delete it. I've tried to delete it like a million times over the last 20 years whenever I think about it. But one day, drunk, a bunch of college kids were sitting around talking about our friends' boobs. And we were like, you know what? We should write a poem about these boobs. You know what? We should put that poem on Facebook. You know what? We should make a original Facebook group, like one of the first 10 Facebook groups of all time is a group called Ode to Boobs.
Oh,
that's what it was when we were cutting our teeth on social media. Like, shit has changed.
Look at that comedy callback to drunkboobs.com. I love it.
Oh my God.
So I remember the day that Facebook came to our college, like my friend called me up and she's like, it's here. It's time. We can get on there. So I wasn't even talking about, so we were in college. There was no internet, or it wasn't the internet we know today. It was just like AOL Instant Messenger. It was like MySpace and Open Diaries.
Pixelated pictures. Live journal.
Yes. Everyone. And you know what? Speaking of, she was always doing quizzes. She influenced me. She was an influencer on Live Journal. She was always doing those quizzes like, are you going to live in a mansion or a shack? Do you like white chocolate or caramel? And I'd always, that was the internet back in the day.
Yeah.
So we weren't looking at those, I wasn't looking at those marketing concepts through the lens that I have today. Now, 13 years into, running my business, and I've done all this work on the ground. So, and we've matured as a buying and brand culture. And so now I'm looking at history with these fresh eyes and with these these cynical eyes. Like you talked about being an old dog. I don't know. I'm a middle-aged dog. Technically, you're middle-aged at the age of 35. Advertising taught me that. So now you can go cry yourself to sleep about that tonight. But so I feel like, okay, one way to be a student is to go back to history.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to too many podcasts. No offense to this hilarious podcast, which is a standout among the sea of the same. But I was listening to too many podcasts. So last year, as I started my research, I was listening to freaking books, 17-hour books. And that was such a nice shift. And I wasn't reading the how to be authentic on Instagram. Ew. No, I was reading deep dives into 18th century advertising. I read a 1,000-page tome of advertising as told to people in 1897 or some shit. So that for me has been I have been learning so much by kind of, like I said, getting off the internet, going back to books, getting in the dust, getting it, and looking at the patterns of history and reminding myself that the culture that we live in today, it wasn't always this way, right?
No.
And there are patterns and there are things that happen to bring us to this point, and they weren't necessarily good. So that has been I feel like more people in any industry need to know the history of that industry. Now I'm like a dork. I'm a nerd. I love this shit. I'm like, I go to the farmer's market and I look at the old book section and I'm like, ooh, can I get it? I'm looking for Napoleon Hill. If you see an old Napoleon Hill, call me up. I'll
I have
on
one
down.
somewhere. I might even have two. I'll just give you my other one. But I love the idea because, we're kicking it old school. And that's what I say all the time in the Non-Sleazy Sales Academy is like customer service is not new. We used to actually be better at it. Selling is not new. We used to actually be better at it. Marketing and word of mouth, not new. We used to actually be better at it. So I love the idea that you're like, yeah, sure, TikTok has a place, but let's look at precedent here.
Yeah.
Lady Law School. Let's look at the things that have gone before.
People think, like, you look at Napoleon Hill, people think the concepts, like, you've got the Tony Robbins of the world regurgitating this shit. And people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's blowing my mind. It's like cutting edge. It's like, no, it's not. He stole that shit from a grifter from 1937. Okay. So that's also helpful. I think it's validating for people when they see the histories of ways that we have like taken advantage of each other. Yeah. Then it's like, oh, it's not me actually. Like, cause I think, our clientele is probably similar and overlapping in the sense that people come to me who have gone all through all the programs. They've done the celebrity courses. They've worked with the big guys. They've spent $10,000 in a mastermind not to get anything back. Right. Mm-hmm. And then they get to this point where they're like, first of all, they're embarrassed that they, quote, fell for it. Yeah. And second of all, they're like, I did all the things and it doesn't work. So what does that mean? Am I a bad business owner? Does this mean I'm meant to be a failure? And
is it me?
And I will tell them, like, everybody's gotten got, like getting got is the history of America. I mean, it's like everybody has been scammed. So don't feel shame for falling down somebody's funnel. No. And ending up like, I've fallen and I can't get out, because we all end up in someone's dirty funnel. We were talking about this before the show. I won't name names, Annie, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. There's your new hardware product. It's a life alert bracelet for funnels. And you pick your like medical proxy, like the person that will be like, you do not need more info cracks. Stop immediately. Like it calls your emergency contact and it says RKA is in the spin. And then you have somebody call you and be like, put the lead magnet down, put it down, put it down. I mean, and I love a damn lead magnet, but at the end of the day, do I need more? No, what I need is the very first thing you said. I need to get off my ass, beat feet, and go meet people in a real old school way and delight them and serve them in a real old school way. Now, I freaking love this transition too, because this is so old school in more ways than one for two kids with theater degrees from Columbia College, Chicago. What up? If this doesn't get us in the alumni newsletter, what will?
We better.
Ask you?
Let's go.
But today you pitched something very near and dear to my heart, and also something that now makes me feel a gajillion years old. So it's so great that we've been talking about the Wayback Machine, because I feel like when people in online marketing look at history, we don't even go back to Napoleon Hill. We're like, well, that was in the early Forleo times. There was marketing before B School. Y'all, there was. And there was musicals before Dear Evan Hansen. And before Dear Evan Hansen and even before Hamilton, there was the sensation of AIDS and impending adulthood called Rent. Rachel, my old friend, or at least my old acquaintance, my new friend, who's finally my friend, what the hell does any of this have to do?
It was you who were cool. Rent? La Vie Boheme.
I didn't feel that cool.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm going to go back in the Wayback Machine to myself in 2005 and be like, Annie Passanisi Ruggles called me your friend. You don't know who Ruggles is yet, but you will.
No, I will. I very will. But we the La Vie Boheme of the last several years has been quite interesting. But like, what other than the glaring parables about showing up making art despite all odds, financial struggling,
Yes.
trauma bonding,
Yes.
all of these things. What can small business owners learn from rent?
I mean, what can't they learn from rent, Annie? You just said it yourself. It's got a story. It's got something for everyone. No day but today. Forget regret or life is yours to miss. I mean, so that right there is like, you can do it. Start your business. Forget regret or life is yours to miss. What I love about rent is that Jonathan Larson predicted BuzzFeed. Because if you remember, Mark was being like,
yes,
cajoled and tempted to like sell out, right? And I think that speaks to this funnel conversation. Alexis from Buzzline.
Mark Cohen, Alexis.
Ooh, that show's so
from
sleazy.
Buzzline. Yes.
And look at you now with your sleazy sales guy. So like he was going to sell it to Buzzline, but also at the same time, it's like, you do what you got to do, Mark. Like if you got to go, write
You're facing eviction, so sometimes financial oxygen is necessary.
It is true. Although Mark's like rich parents, like why couldn't they give him the money for some rent? I mean, that's a question that is never answered. They were giving him a hot plate, so why can't they go the extra mile? But so we've got, the selling out question. I was thinking about this morning, Collins, and that kind of, recurring theme that comes back again and again of, let's open up a restaurant in Santa Fe and like, let's get back to like what we really love to do. He said it's all about serving the clients, right? You talked about old school, and in that song, he's like, we're gonna meet them at the door, and I can't remember the lyrics right now. We can
drum a gentle drum, and we can meet guests as they come.
Chatting not about Heidegger, but wine. Yes.
But it's all about ambiance. And even Mimi has a personal brand. She's got that lawn chair handcuff dance.
Mm-hmm.
That lawn chair handcuff dance is her TikTok legend. She created the whole thing. She could have been on
OnlyFans and paid her,
She could have been.
Yeah.
She could have bought her AZT on OnlyFans money so that Benny wouldn't have to pay for rehab.
That's true. I mean, they could have, all of these guys actually would have been great in the creator economy, which also, speaking of Benny, he predicted the metaverse. He was like, I'm opening up a cyber studio. Here's an early adopter. I mean, you got to give him credit. He did have a vision. Everybody hated Benny, but I was rewatching it. I'm like, God, you're old when you're watching and empathizing with Benny. And you're like, Benny, I get it. And they killed his cat, his dog? That wasn't right.
That's not right. That is messed up. Like, Angel is the heart of the show, but that is dog murder.
It is.
Doesn't make it right. But yeah, one of the things is like, all right, like you and I talked about this a little bit in the pre-chat. The whole central conceit of rent is the idea of paying rent. And Friends had a verbal commitment with their landlord.
It's true. It's a verbal contract. I went to law school, as you said. And that honestly does hold up. But these guys, they didn't have, other than Joanne, they didn't have representation. What were they going to do? They didn't know that.
I do feel like there's a little bit of an Anna Delvey situation too, in like, don't go to Morocco if you can't afford to get your ass home. Where it's also like, at some point, even though you have a verbal contract, you should probably put in writing that you don't have to pay rent.
That's true.
That Benny can't show up and be like, you owe me 3 years of back rent.
Yeah. But he was just screwing around. I mean, he sold out because then he would like hang out with them. And then he was coming to Marie, so it was like he was sending conflicting messages. That's the part where I can't get down with Benny. He was not good to the homeless. Like, so ultimately, Benny, you know what?
I think Benny gets a solid C for effort. I think he was fed to us. Yes. I think like empathizing with Benny doesn't mean that Benny becomes the hero of the show, but it means that he becomes an understandable adulting case study of like, he's not doing his best, but he's not doing his worst.
Right. I mean, and it's all about the dialectic. Like we were talking, it's the both and of it all. Everyone in the show, everyone, including Angel, had a good side and a bad side. Angel's a dog murderer, but did it with love, and what you like, hopefully the dog went quick. They did jump from, a however many story window. So hopefully it was a quick and painless experience. But yeah, everybody in the show is deep, like that's Mimi, and so here we come back to this dialectic that we see in business of, I talk a lot of talk about last year when I was burning it all down and I was whistleblowing and I was talking trash about the industry, people were like, you're bullying. Like that's, and the one big thing that I wanted to really delineate was a lot of the names that I was naming were celebrity personal brands. Okay. And this happens to be like my topic du jour, my favorite topic. And so what I was doing was first of all, I was only naming the top guys. I was naming the corporations. I was naming the 7, 8, 9-figure corporations with human faces. Okay. And I wasn't coming for them about like how they eat their breakfast or how they parent their kids or like behind the scenes of their lives.
Character stuff. You were talking about
I was talking about their brands. Yes. Their brands, right? And so there is that, I think when we see in the age of the personal brand, is that the way that folks are infusing their corporate entities with human characteristics, and I'm talking about the folks that have, like you mentioned, Forleo, teams of 60, 70, 80 people who are behind, the Wizard of Oz, right? Is that they're using their humanity to skirt accountability, to create a bond, to create a parasocial relationship with their audience, where there's intimacy there. It feels like intimacy. And they're selling on that intimacy. They're selling on people's desire for connection. They're selling on people's loneliness, before and after the pandemic. Yeah. And then when they do get held accountable or not, they're like, I'm just a girl I'm just a mom. I'm just like a girl like with your computer. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're a girl with 60 people who all working on their computers in like Thailand for $4 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you really are.
Girl, you're just a girl. You're just a mom boss until I say something critical of your program and you bring 9 lawyers and send me a cease and desist. Like,
I'm just a girl with 9 lawyers.
Yeah, just a girl with 9 lawyers who will bring frivolous lawsuits because I can. Like,
to scare you. That's intimidation, right? Like, because they're not going to go, because they can't enforce that shit. But yeah.
No, they can't enforce shit. But that you're so right in that, like, there's so much. Oh God, I haven't talked about sand in the laptop in so long, but there's so much of that idea of like, look at me, I am one person and I made it on my own 2 feet and now I'm a bajillionaire and I love my clients. My clients are the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And if you literally took one of their clients and put it in front of them, they would have no clue that that person had given them their life savings. They couldn't even know their name. So like, right. I love that you're bringing up this idea of cheapening and bastardizing intimacy, which people like you and me, who are not new, but not guru size either, intimacy is important for us. In order for you to brand someone with someone, you need to know them intimately. Yes. In order for me to understand someone's ethics and integrity so I can turn that into a selling style, I need to know them intimately. But it's hard to show up authentically intimately on a business when the gurus, the first thing they're going to say is, you get direct access to me. No, you fucking don't.
This is the answer that I give people. Like, there's such an effort on, like, an emphasis on scaling. Like, brands as we know them actually came out of a need to scale after the Industrial Revolution, when we had factories churning out mass-produced goods. And no longer, like you brought up the salesman and like the general store owners, no longer could companies rely on them to do all their selling because it wasn't going to be scalable enough. But I'm really all about, you see so many folks who are like, they want to skip the intimacy step. They want to, they're like, I took Amy Porterfield's program and now I'm going to make a course and I don't actually want to have to deal with people. And like, and I haven't really done this work one-on-one with very many people, but I now want to sell it to thousands and I want to withdraw and lay in a hammock on a beach somewhere and not have to work. And that's the myth that they're being sold. Yeah. And I really believe before you scale to a point like that, and even I think there are some businesses that are really honestly not meant to be scaled, but before you do that, you need to do, like you said, what did you say? Beat your feet. Yeah. That's so close to another, like, we're getting real dirty with the metaphors today, but you need to do the one-on-one, like you need to work with lots and lots of people because yours, like we were talking about the safe space, your solution may work for one person, but then you work with another person with a different personality, a different set of strengths. You got a different like stumbling block that you need to learn how to get them over. And I think people want to skip that step because it's not sexy to work one-on-one anymore. It's not sexy to have the intimate group experiences. It's all about like, let me scale to that one to many, right? And it's like, You have to validate that concept on a very deep level by working one-on-one. And that's where expertise is built. It's not built reading books. It's not built in courses and webinars. It's not built in somebody's dirty ass funnel. It is built on doing the work with lots of different people so that then you can say, I have encountered pretty much like once you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm not seeing anything new in terms of the patterns my clients bring to me. That's when you do have something that might be able to be scalable towards a one-to-many. But a lot of folks are doing, and you look at these folks who are teaching like Marie Forleo in her B school. It's, you know what? It's fine. I didn't take it, but a lot of my clients have. It's fine. Like, I'm not going to talk shit about it, but I'm not going to praise it either.
Yeah, I'm not going to send 19 emails telling everyone I've ever met to sign up for it during the same season when we all get the same 19 emails. But I'm also like, sure, if it's good for you, great.
I mean, but here's what I'll tell you about it. One, everyone I know who's had great success from B school had success in the group. And they didn't have success in the group because they were being taught by other people. They had success in the group because they networked and then they got referral business from it. So that's one thing. And now the group is closed. So that'll tell you about the value you'll probably get from B school today. But so that's one. And two, like, you know, because this is what you do in your work, a value of those business teachings isn't the information.
No,
it is the tailored, like, it's one thing to learn about what you need in a business model and all the options, but then the real results come from working with someone that knows you intimately, that knows your strengths, that knows your audience.
Yes.
And Marie Forleo doesn't. And you're not going to get that from a 5-minute hot seat call. You're not going to get it from one of her sub coaches or whoever she has like in her room.
No.
Because still you're on a webinar with hundreds of people.
Right.
Hoping you get a spot for 5 minutes in the hot seat in front of Marie. And then what the hell does she know at this point? Like, you're like, hey, I run a business. I help women empower themselves. What do you think I should do?
There's 500 people on the call, right? And you're paying for hope of access. Ugh.
Right.
But that's how we wind up with cookie cutter brands and cookie cutter sales scripts. I'm the only sales program that doesn't give you a fucking sales script. Why? Because to your exact point, you can't tailor a sales script to the point where it's effective. If I don't know what you're selling, who you're selling it to, how you're selling it, I can't answer it. I can't do it. You cannot brand someone if you don't know them. We could put rose gold and cursive all over fucking everything. It doesn't tell us a damn thing about you unless you're rose gold and cursive. Then we're like, cool, you're kind of bougie, but kind of not. I get that about you, right? But I love that, like, if these characters from the 90s, if we saw them in a lineup right now, we would know who they are. We're like, she's wearing leather. That's the Maureen. He's wearing stripes. That's the Mark. He's got spiky hair and a guitar. That's the Roger. She's naked. That's the Mimi. We know, right? Do not just rose gold choir yourself. It's not Book of Mormon. You're not one of a million. You're Rent, baby. Get on that table and shake your ass.
You're really bringing it home with the Rent. I am loving that.
I'm trying because I want to release you back to your gorgeous day. But, you know, I do have 2 more questions for you, and I wish I didn't have to let you go, but I do. My first question for you is, you know, we think a lot about metrics in entrepreneurship.
Too much.
And TikTok views and all that shit. But Rent has a different way of measuring. In daylights and sunsets and midnights and cups of coffee and inches, miles and laughter and strife. And Rachel, what is the RKA increment for measuring 525,600 minutes, or for measuring that times 13, which is how long you've been in business? So hold on, I got to do a little bit of math. 500 times 13. There we go. Okay, hold on. In 6,382,800 minutes.
Oh my God. Wow.
What
Lots
is
of millions of
metric?
minutes.
What is the metric that you have measured those 13 years of success and hard-won living?
Rainbows.
What do you measure it in?
I measure it in rainbows.
Rainbows. Yeah. Get that Roy G. Biff. Get that Roy G. Biff. All right. This is ridiculous.
The rainbow is so powerful. I mean, it's like, it's a symbol of nuance and creativity. It's a symbol of embracing all. And I think that really is, Rent is about it's about pain. It's a lot about loss. The folks in that show are coping with addiction. They're coping with AIDS. They're coping with poverty. They're coping with all of the things. And there's the rainbow element of the show as well. There's the love, there's the friendship, there's the connection, there's the art, right? There's the activism, there's the fighting the power. And so I feel like that's, when you get into the business game, you really have to be ready to embrace the rainbow of the experience, all of the colors, the pain and the joy, all of it. Yeah. So that's it, baby.
Well, and I think that's so true, because we may not have been best friends in college, but we have known each other for a long time. And I can agree that without your trauma, you wouldn't be you. And without my trauma, I wouldn't be me. We're fundamentally the same people we were, but we're a hell of a lot cooler now and better medicated.
That is true.
Go us.
On both counts.
Rachel, I love your approach to branding. I love how absolutely fearless you are in your humor and your whistleblowing and your advising. I want my listeners to find and listen more of you. And dang it, wouldn't it be great if they decided to throw money at you too? What's the best way for them to come into your world?
You can find me anywhere internets are sold, Annie, but but I would say, you know what? If you want more of the shit that we've been talking about today, if you want more of that cultural, historical inquiry alongside what is branding culture doing to us and what can we do about it, then you should check out my show, marketingmuckraking.com. Marketing Muckraking, that's my podcast. And I was almost going to plug Awkward Marketing, which is the lighter fare. If you just want some giggles, I do have a business sketch comedy show where I teach about entrepreneurship in the internet age, and I, do the different characters of pop culture. I've done all the characters of Saved by the Bell. I've done all the characters of The Office. I've done all the characters of Full House. I mean, it goes and goes and goes. So you can go to Awkward Marketing.
To prove it.
I got the gifts to prove. I got the 2.2 billion gift views to prove. I am a billionaire
of gift views.
Well, yeah, that's enough. Listen,
that's
it's all about hype,
currency.
And I'm just going to go around and say I'm a billionaire.
It's your first currency of many, and I think you should.
I do.
I think you should.
I'm a giftfluencer.
Measure your life in giftfluencers.
Yes, that's true. I measure my life in rainbows
in gifts.
And gifts. So you can find awkwardmarketing.com. The truth is, if you really want to use my gifts, anywhere you can bring up a gift, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Slack, LinkedIn, just search RKA. And then put in your search term. Because honestly, there's pretty much a gift for every occasion. If you put RKA happy, RKA pissed, RKA funnel, RKA bro, RKA Trump, you'll find some fun shit. So look for RKA and you will find my animated face.
Need that life alert for funnels and rabbit holes, because I'm just going to start posting every GIF you've ever made. Rachael Kay Albers, it has been such a freaking refreshing delight to get to talk to you about our industry, where it's going, where we're going, and also where we've been. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you. I'll never forget it.
Oh, y'all, I'm going to go have a little happy cry, post a couple gifts, and I'll be back in just a second with my final thought and your homework for the week. Well, hey there. Thank you for joining me on this weird, wonderful, wild trip down memory lane. So let's fact check. Yes, Rachel and I went to college together. Yes, we knew each other. Yes, we went to some of the same parties. No, we were not close. But I'm sure every theater degree holder on earth will talk about the intimacy of their department and conservatory and the social scene that hovers around it, fueled by drama, emotions, hormones, and competition that would melt the face right off of the typical college kid. Since this interview, I have thought about intimacy a lot. About how, even though college was a zillion years ago now, and I have grown and matured and chilled the F out substantially, Rachel, all these years, has still had the right impression of me, for better and for worse. I'm still me. Healthier me, wiser me, quieter me, but still overdramatic, loud, and boundary challenged. It's kind of nice to remember this on days when I don't feel quite as shiny or optimistic as I did then, which, taking a page out of Rachel's bravery book, is more often than I like to think. But I've still got it because I've still got me. It's like she said, when you burn it all down, you've what you've got left. So today, your homework is to revive something that you used to do that has since fallen out of your strategy. That event you hosted that COVID killed. Maybe it's time to breathe new life into it. The little gifts and heartfelt notes you used to send to new clients before you got book solid and you didn't want to go to the post office anymore. The brave, bold, burn it down videos you used to make before all those haters said all that crap they said. What's old school you? It's time to brush off your old friend strategies and see where they can carry you now that you too are older, wiser, and more successful. So just for this week, please stop innovating and go back to what you know just works naturally. Hey, thanks for listening. Too Legitimate to Quit is brought to you by the Non-Sleazy Sales Academy and me, your host, Annie P. Ruggles. Listen, we talk a lot about marketing on this show, and that's because I fully, earnestly believe that every dime and every moment we spend marketing is totally worth it unless we turn around and sabotage ourselves at the finish by refusing to sell and sell beautifully. Why? A lot of us have a misconception of what selling actually requires of us or who it needs us to be. Please give me the opportunity to help change your mind at www.nonsleazy.com. That's NONSLEAZY.com. Big shout out to the fabulous dudes who helped make this show what it is. My producer and editor, Andrew Sims of Hypable Impact. My composer, Riley Herbasio. And my show artist, Francois Vigneault. They're all fabulous, and I'd be glad to introduce you. Until next week, just do your best, and remember, you're too legitimate to quit.